You can be sitting at home, heating on, wearing warm clothes, and still feel cold. You add another layer, pull your sleeves down, wrap yourself in a blanket, but nothing really changes. Most people think this means the room is cold or their body just gets cold easily. But very often, the problem isn't the temperature at all. It's how your clothes interact with heat when you're indoors. Once you understand what's actually happening, that constant feeling of cold suddenly starts to make sense. Why you feel cold even when the room isn't cold. Feeling cold indoors is confusing because it goes against logic. The thermostat says the temperature is normal. You're not outside. You're wearing clothes. Yet your body keeps sending the same signal. Cold. This happens because warmth isn't created by temperature alone. It's created by balance between your body, the air around you, and how that air is held close to the skin. When you're indoors, your body produces less heat than when you're moving outside. You sit still, your muscles relax, circulation slows slightly, and heat production drops. If your clothes don't help retain that small amount of heat, it escapes quietly and constantly. There's no dramatic chill, just a steady loss that your body keeps trying to compensate for. That's why you can feel cold without shivering. Your body isn't in danger, but it's uncomfortable. And because the room temperature looks fine, you assume the problem must be you. In reality, the issue is often that your clothes aren't doing anything to support heat retention when your body is at rest. Warm air versus trapped air. What clothes are actually supposed to do? Clothes don't warm you by being thick or heavy. They warm you by trapping air. Warmth comes from tiny pockets of still air held close to the skin. When that air stays in place, it creates insulation. When it moves freely, warmth disappears, even indoors. Many indoor clothes fail because they are too smooth, too flat, or too thin in the wrong way. They sit on the skin but don't create space for air to stay still. Heat escapes every time you shift position, stand up, or even breathe. The fabric may feel soft or warm to the touch, but it doesn't hold warmth once you stop moving. This is why adding more layers doesn't always help. If each layer is flat and airless, you're just stacking surfaces, not insulation. Real warmth comes from structure, not bulk. Once you understand that clothes are meant to manage air, not just cover skin, it becomes clear why some outfits keep you comfortable indoors and others never quite work, no matter how many layers you add. Why thin layers fail even if the fabric feels warm? Thin layers seem like a smart choice indoors. They feel light, flexible, and easy to move in. Many of them even feel warm to the touch, especially right after you put them on. But that initial sensation is misleading. Warmth on contact doesn't mean warmth over time. When a fabric is very thin and smooth, it doesn't create enough structure to hold air. It warms up quickly from your body heat, but it also loses that heat just as quickly. Every small movement pushes the warm air away from your skin and replaces it with cooler air from the room. The process is constant, but subtle enough that you rarely notice it happening. This is why thin indoor clothes often feel fine for the first few minutes, then slowly become ineffective. You're covered, but not insulated. The body keeps producing small amounts of heat, and the clothes keep letting it escape. Over time, that imbalance turns into the familiar feeling of being cold for no clear reason, even though nothing has changed in the room. The problem with smooth, flat fabrics indoors. Smooth fabrics are popular because they look neat and feel pleasant at first touch. They slide easily over the skin, don't catch on movement, and often feel cool and comfortable when you first put them on. But indoors, especially when you're sitting still, this smoothness becomes part of the problem. Flat fabrics don't create friction or texture, which means they don't hold air in place. Instead, air moves freely between the fabric and your skin. Warmth escapes quietly, without resistance. The clothes feel neutral, but they're not doing any insulating work. This is especially noticeable in home clothes like thin knits, jersey tops, or smooth synthetic layers. They follow the shape of the body too closely. There's no space, no structure, no barrier to slow heat loss. Over time, the body feels exposed, even though it's fully covered. That's when you start reaching for blankets, thicker socks, or extra layers. Not because you're underdressed, but because your clothes aren't helping you stay warm. Why some fabrics feel cold the moment you put them on. Some clothes feel cold as soon as they touch your skin, even in a warm room. This isn't about temperature. It's about how quickly a fabric pulls heat away from your body. Certain materials conduct heat very efficiently, meaning they absorb your body warmth faster than your skin can replace it. When this happens, the fabric feels cold, even though it's technically the same temperature as the room. Your body responds by tightening muscles slightly and increasing tension, trying to protect heat. You may not notice it consciously, but your posture changes, your shoulders lift, and you never fully relax. Fabrics that feel cold on contact often stay that way indoors, especially when you're sitting still. Instead of warming up and stabilizing, they keep drawing heat away in small amounts. Over time, this creates a constant sensation of coolness that doesn't improve with wear. The clothes don't adapt to your body, they work against it. Heat loss when you sit still, and why home clothes make it worse. When you sit still, your body switches into a low-energy mode. Muscle activity drops, circulation slows slightly, and heat production decreases. Outdoors, movement usually compensates for this. Indoors, especially during long periods of sitting, there's nothing to replace the lost warmth. Home clothes often make this worse because they're designed for softness, not insulation. They stretch, lie flat against the skin, and offer very little structure. There's no trapped air, no resistance to heat loss. As a result, warmth leaves the body faster than it's produced. This is why you can feel comfortable while walking around the house, then suddenly feel cold the moment you sit down. Nothing changed in the room. Only your body did. Without clothes that support heat retention during stillness, your temperature balance slowly shifts, and the cold feeling creeps in without warning. Why indoor humidity makes clothes feel colder? Humidity changes how warmth feels, even when the temperature stays the same. Indoors, especially in winter, air is often very dry. In some homes, it's the opposite, slightly damp. Both situations affect how your clothes perform, but in different ways. Dry air pulls moisture from your skin faster, which increases heat loss. Even if you're not sweating, evaporation still happens. Clothes that don't manage moisture well allow this process to continue, making your body lose warmth more quickly. The result is a dry, cool sensation that feels deeper than simple cold air. In more humid indoor environments, moisture gets trapped between the fabric and your skin. Instead of evaporating efficiently, it stays there, creating a clammy feeling. Wet or damp air conducts heat away faster than dry air, so warmth disappears even though you're fully dressed. In both cases, the wrong fabric turns humidity into a silent amplifier of cold. Tight clothes versus loose clothes, where warmth disappears. Fit plays a much bigger role in warmth than most people realize. Very tight clothes press directly against the skin, leaving no space for air. Without that thin layer of trapped air, insulation simply can't exist. Heat moves straight from the body into the room. Very loose clothes can fail too, but for a different reason. When garments are too open or unstructured, air moves freely inside them. Warm air escapes, cold air replaces it, and the body constantly loses heat. You feel covered, but never protected. The most comfortable indoor clothes sit somewhere in between. They don't cling, and they don't hang open. They create small, stable pockets of air that stay close to the body even when you move. That balance, not tightness or looseness alone, is what helps clothes keep you warm without making you feel restricted. Why synthetic fabrics often fail indoors. Synthetic fabrics are often designed for durability, stretch, or easy care, not for quiet, long-term warmth. Indoors, especially when you're sitting or barely moving, their weaknesses become much more noticeable. Many synthetics don't absorb moisture, and don't release it either. They simply trap it against the skin. This creates a strange contradiction. Your body loses heat, but the fabric doesn't help regulate it. Instead of stabilizing warmth, synthetic materials form a thin barrier that feels neutral at first, then slowly uncomfortable. Air can't circulate properly, but warmth isn't held in place either. Another issue is adaptability. Synthetic fabrics don't respond well to small temperature changes. When your body cools slightly, they don't insulate more. When you warm up, they don't release heat smoothly. Indoors, where conditions change subtly throughout the day, this rigidity makes them feel off. Even if you can't explain why. The role of skin contact and micromovement. Even when you're sitting still, your body is never completely motionless. You shift your weight, Adjust your posture, move your arms, breathe. These micro-movements constantly change how clothes touch your skin. If a fabric doesn't handle these small movements well, heat escapes little by little. Clothes that slide too easily lose contact where warmth should be held. Clothes that grip too much create pressure and tension. In both cases, the balance is broken. Warm air pockets collapse, reform, and collapse again, never staying stable long enough to insulate properly. Good indoor clothing works quietly with micromovement instead of fighting it. It flexes, holds air, and maintains contact without pressure. When fabrics manage this well, warmth feels steady and natural. When they don't, your body keeps adjusting, searching for comfort that never quite arrives. Even in a warm room. Why your body can't warm up in the wrong clothes. When clothes don't support warmth, the body never fully relaxes into a stable temperature. Instead of warming up and staying there, it keeps cycling between small adjustments. Blood vessels tighten, then slowly release. Muscles hold light tension. Your body is constantly trying to protect heat, but never quite succeeding. This is why the feeling of cold can last for hours indoors. It's not that you're losing all your heat at once. It's that you're never allowed to build a reserve. Every time your body starts to feel warmer, the wrong fabric lets that warmth slip away again. The process is quiet but exhausting. Over time, this constant micro-struggle becomes your normal. You stop expecting to feel truly warm at home. You add layers, blankets, hot drinks, but nothing fully solves it. Once you understand that warmth depends on cooperation between your body and your clothes, it becomes clear why changing the fabric, not just adding more, can finally allow your body to settle into comfort.